Hi guys, in this video I will show you how to use a map from the C++ standard library. The map class implements the red-black tree abstract data type. If you're curious about red-black trees, you can check out my video. I'll put a link in the description below. In order to use a map in a C++ program, you first have to add an include preprocessor directive. This is to include the map in your program. I will also work with strings, which is why I'll also include string at the top. Map is part of the standard namespace, so in order to create a map object, you simply put std : map and then two generic arguments. The first one specifies the type of the key. In my case, it will be string. And the second one is the type of the value. In my case, it will be int. I will just use m as an identifier to keep it simple. But ideally, you want to use a meaningful identifier, such as name to age. Now, before I move on, I want to briefly explain how a map works. A map is essentially a dictionary that maps keys to values. You can also imagine it like a table with two columns, a key column and a value column. The map consists of entries. Each entry is like a row in a table, and the entry has a key and a value. So in this case, I have two entries. The entry represents the name of a person, and the value represents the age for that person. So I map name to age. I want to use this map and add these three entries. I can do this by using m, then square brackets, then the key, in this case Kyle, and then equal 22. This now added the entry with Kyle and mapped it to 22. I can later look up that value by that given key. Now I want to add a couple more values, which is Vicky, and I assign 24 for that key, and Mad, in which case I assign 18. Now I have three entries in the map. Before I move on, I want to also show you how you can initialize a map directly. I will create another map with the same template arguments, string and int. I name this m2, and here I will use curly brackets, and this represents the map. And now I can also specify the key and values here. So I can do Kyle, 22 and Vicky, 24, and I have one more, which is Mad, 18. The last one doesn't have a comma because there are no more entries. Now the map is represented by the curly braces here and here. And then each entry has curly braces as well. So this is an entry, this is an entry. Note that there's not an equal sign, but instead a comma between the key and the value. So if you know the entries beforehand, this is an easy way to initialize the map directly with the entries that you want to have. Let me show you how you can get a value by a given key. In this case, I have age, and I want to look it up, the age for Kyle. So I specify the identifier of the map. This is m, and then the key, which is Kyle. This returns the value for this key that I specify. Now I output this, and when I run this, this should give me 22. You can see 22 down here at the console. Next, let me show you how you can check if a given key exists in the map. I will use the if condition, and I check if.find. Then I pass in the key. I will use Kyle again. Not equals m.end. Find returns an iterator, and I will basically check if the iterator that is returned does not match the end of the map, in which case it would mean that it ran through the entire map until the end and it was not able to find it. So in this case, I know that this key exists in the map, and what I want to do now is I want to delete that entry with the key Kyle from the map. I can do this by calling the erase function, m.erase. This function expects an iterator, so I simply do m.find Kyle, use the same key, find returns an iterator, and then I pass the iterator that is returned by find to the erase function. And after that, I output Kyle was found and deleted. Now when I run this, it should output on the console that Kyle was found and deleted. Next, I want to show you how we can get the number of entries, in other words, the size of the map. So initially, the size was 3 because I had 3 entries. Now I just deleted the one with Kyle, so Kyle no longer exists in the map. So the size should now be 2. These are the 2 entries that are left. So I do this by declaring size t, size equals m.size, and then I output the size. When I run this, this should output size 2. You can see here, size 2 was outputted. Now last, I want to show you how you can iterate over a map. Basically, iterate over it and getting each entry in the map. First, I declare an iterator. So this is a map from a string to an integer. And I want an iterator for this map. I call it iter, and I initialize it to the map.begin. Map.begin returns an iterator that points to the very first entry in the map. Now I want to repeat as long as iter does not point to m.end. And in each iteration, I want to output the entry. So iter has first and second. I go back to the map. First will be the key. Second will be the value. So I basically iter represents an entry, and iter first is the key, iter second is the value. So here on the output, I put cout iter, use the arrow operator to go to first, and then I output an equal sign, and then I use iter arrow operator second, and then a line break. And next I have to increment the iterator by 1. So initially the iterator points to the very first entry in the map. So this would be Vicky. Kai was deleted. So Vicky is the first entry. So initially when I call begin, I have an iterator that points to the very first entry in the map. It does not point to end. So I get the first, which is the key, output the key, output an equal sign, then output second, which is the value for that key. Then I increment the iterator, which moves the iterator to the next entry in the map. That is not the end, because I know I have size 2, right? I have 2 entries in the map. So then I output again the key and the value for that key. Then I increment iter again, and now it points to the end. So this condition is false, and the loop will stop. When I run this, this should now output the 2 entries in the map, which is map 18 and Vicky 24. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.